All right, cool. Hey guys, welcome to today's Simple Retirement Solutions call. My name is Hayden Hill. I'm going to be hosting it today. And today, the topic that we're going to be going through is definitely how to write annuities. But from a team perspective, it's going to be how to increase your annuity volume, how to help your agents write more annuities, and ultimately be more profitable. My background for those of you guys that don't know me is been with Family First Life for a little over 6 years now. Hall of Fame producer, Hall of Fame agency owner. And in my first couple of years of being, a top producer in the field over the phone, I had a fear of writing annuities. So, I see some people on the screen nodding their head, raising their hands. That was me. And I think the main reason why is one, I just didn't really know what annuities were. And also I didn't know the process of if I actually got someone on the phone or someone in person that, had retirement money, how the heck do I actually do an application, get it transferred, get it funded, and then ultimately get paid. So one thing we've been focusing on for the last year with our group that's able, we're basically going to 20x in the last year and a half in terms of team volume. And it's nothing special of like everyone on our team is an annuity master. It's as simple, and it's going to sound dumb to you guys, but it's as simple as everyone just knowing what they're doing, being prepared, and then just asking the question. And I'll go through the golden question. Hopefully you guys already know what it is. If you don't, write it down. But when new agents come on board or agents that just aren't selling annuities, the first step and kind of the first direction that I point them in is go knock out the annuity boot camp. So everyone here that's already with Family First Life, you go to the gateway portal where the ILC is, where the IP report is, where, all the contracting stuff, everything, and go to the boot camp. There's an IUL boot camp. There's an annuity boot camp. I would knock them both out if you can. But if you want to sell annuities, knock out the annuity boot camp. So that thing's going to take you, no more than, an hour or two. It's really, really good in terms of the basics. They go through illustrations. They talk about the products and everything like that. So get that knowledge base. You don't have to be an expert and know everything about annuities, but just get the basics down of no risk, safe growth, there's bonuses, all the things about taxes, just the 4 or 5 things you need to know. Knock that out, and then from there you can get appointed with Athene, with NLG, all the companies that offer annuities. And that's important because what I always tell new agents is if we're going to start asking the question, we want to sell annuities, we need to make sure we're ready to go. Because Angela, the worst thing for you would be if you weren't appointed with Athene already, in NLG, and you start asking the questions, and then you're like, hey, I have a client that has $200,000 we want to move. And it's like, well, we got to go through the boot camp, got to get contracted, we got to do the training. That's like a 1 to 2 week long process, just waiting to be able to even write the annuities. So get that stuff done first. And then from there, guys, it is literally as simple, if you're new, as asking your clients every single time. So a mistake that I made when I was writing a bunch of business, my first 9 months when I had a big Hall of Fame year, was I never asked the golden question. I just wanted to sell life insurance, sell them. If I didn't, I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible, call the next client, sell them, and just keep on going. And I probably left so much money on the table just by not asking. And so for you guys on this call, as leaders, managers of your team, leaders of your team, I would start making sure that every single person on your team just asks one major question. And the golden question is, when you're going through your life insurance presentation and you go through their health questions, all you ask them is, Melissa, what do you have that acts like life insurance? Do you have any 401ks, IRAs, stocks, annuities, mutual funds, anything like that that's going to go to your family when you pass away? That's what all you have to do. And you ask the question, and people are going to say one of two things. They're either going to say, no, I have nothing, which, by the way, if they say, no, I have nothing, all that does is it strengthens your position to sell them life insurance because they have nothing for their family. If they say yes, I say, okay, great. Which one of those? 401ks, IRAs, stocks, cash in the bank, annuities, what do you have? And then from there, they say, oh, I have an old 401k. Okay, cool. How much do you have in there? Just approximately. Oh, 100 grand. Okay, cool. I'm either taking notes on paper or I'm taking notes mentally. And I know, okay, great. Melissa has an old 401k, 100 grand in there. That's the extent of what I'm talking about in terms of the annuities. After that, when I make the mental note or I write it down, all I'm doing is hopping right back into the life insurance presentation. My goal is to sell them life insurance. My goal is to get referrals. My goal, it's 100% life insurance focused. After we get through the life insurance side, whether they buy or they don't, now I'm going to circle back around. Like right now, guys, especially today is April 10th. I'm sick of checking the market because every day it's like up to 5 minutes. You can check it and it's up, then it's way down. It's exhausting. So right now, this is the most volatile time and probably the best time to sell annuities. And your clients are frustrated with their retirements. They're frustrated with their stock accounts. So once we get through the life insurance presentation, whether I sell them or not, I'm going to come back around and say, hey, Melissa, one more thing before we get off the phone or before, if you're running at home, before I leave the house, one of the main areas I specialize in is safe money retirement. You said you have a 401k with an old 401k with about 100 grand in there. Do you have any plans or do you have anything to protect it, especially in today's market with all the volatility going up, down, up, down? And most people are going to say either no, they're going to say, tell me more, or they're going to say, what is that? And now me as the agent, I want to be the sizzle to the movie. I want to be the 30-second trailer. And then from there, I'm going to pass it on to the guy or gal that knows what they're doing because I'm new. So all I'm going to say is, hey, no problem. Most people don't have anything to protect it. What we do is really cool. Your money stays in the market. You have no risk. So no market risk. We're going to have safe growth. And right now they're actually offering 18 to 20% bonuses in most cases that can recover some of your losses from the last couple of weeks of the market sell-off. Is that something you'd be interested in? And if they say no, no problem. Most people are going to say yes. At that point, I have all the information that I have. Now, all I'm going to do is book an appointment, just like you booked an appointment for the life insurance. So, okay, cool. Hey, Melissa, what I can do is I'm going to get a proposal drawn up so you can see what the numbers and everything look like, and we can go through it together on Zoom. I can either do tomorrow afternoon or I can do Saturday morning. What works better for you? So literally all I'm doing is booking the appointment. And then what I'm going to do is a new agent or an agent that maybe doesn't know what they're doing yet in terms of the whole annuity ballpark is literally just call up your manager, whoever's the annuity specialist in your group, your organization, the SRS team, whoever it is. And you literally already have the information that you need. So if I was calling up Christy, you've written a couple annuities. I would say, hey, Christy, I just had John Smith, my client. He's 60. He's in Arizona. He has an old 401k with $100,000. He wants to either meet tomorrow afternoon or Saturday morning. What day works best for you? I book the appointment, and then I'm going to text the client back and say, hey, we're on for Saturday morning at 9. I'm going to send you the Zoom link. Now, before I used to kind of do it the lazy way sometimes, and I would do it over the phone, and I will never do it over the phone again in terms of the annuity presentation. So Brad Allen taught me everything I know about the annuities. Thank you, Brad. And he taught me my job, we don't sell annuities. Annuities sell themselves. We sell life insurance, but the job of the annuities is just to get them in front of the illustrations. He always said illustrations are what sells them. So I know if I can get them on Zoom, I can pull up the illustrations, I can go through all this stuff, we're golden because they sell themselves. And all this stuff that I just said in terms of, no market risk, safe growth, 6, 7, 8%, 18 to 20% bonus, 10% withdrawals, all that kind of stuff. That's exactly what I do when I get into the presentation. Heck, the other day I had a question for a very complicated case. I literally called Athene and I said, I went to the sales department and I was like, hey man, I have a question. Can you answer it? He was like, yeah, absolutely. And I asked him like 3 questions actually, but he knew the answer every time. So if you guys are unsure about anything, whether it comes to, tax stipulations, whether it comes to the bonus, whether it comes to liquidity, anything, you guys can call the companies or call your expert on your team or the SRS team, and they're going to tell you exactly what you need to know. But that's as simple as it is. So if someone has a lump sum, cool. I'm going to look at all of them. Most of the time, I'm going to go with Athene Performance Elite Plus. I love that one. I know that one like the back of my hand. Most of my clients like that one when I show multiple illustrations. Now, let's say that when I'm doing the life insurance application, I ask them the golden question. They say, no, I have nothing. Like I said, I'm going to strengthen my case on the life insurance side and be like, okay, got it. So this is even more important, John, because if you die tomorrow, your family has nothing. We need to make sure we get you approved today. So I'm going to say that. But then at the end, I'm going to do the same thing and circle back. Hey, John, I know we talked about you not really have anything in retirement. I'm glad we got your life insurance set up, but we actually have something where you can pay in monthly, just like a standard retirement account, and same type of thing. We're going to be able to protect your money. We're going to have safe growth. When the market goes down, you don't lose a dollar. And that product, guys, would be the NLG. I think it's called the Fit Growth or Secure Growth. That's just a monthly annuity. People can pay in $200, $500, $1,000 a month, whatever it is. So there's a lot of options we have, but if you guys get anything from me today, the main thing, like I said, is we don't sell annuities. We find people who are looking for annuities. So the hardest part, which is easy to do and easy not to do. I always tell my team, like, asking for referrals is easy to do. It's easy not to do. It's like, I can hang up the phone and not do it, or I can spend 10 seconds and do it. And they say yes or no. If they say yes, I'm probably making more money. And so just asking the question is the most important thing, because people that are interested, you're going to sell them. If they're not, it's 10 seconds. You don't even waste your time. When I was new to the annuity world, and after those first 9 or 10 months of my Hall of Fame run, I was like, I don't care anymore. I'm asking every single time, and I'm just going to see what happens. My first annuity, I'm selling this lady mortgage protection. It was back in the Stone Age when we were in person. So I had my little binder with all my carriers on it. And I asked her the golden question, and she says, yes, I actually do have an annuity. I go, oh, cool. Who is it with? And she goes, let me see your binder. And she's like, it's that company, right? That Athene one. And I'm like, oh, no kidding. How long ago did you get it? And she's like, oh man, I don't know, maybe like 9, 10 years ago. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, if you can find a statement or call Athene, see how long you've had it for. So the next day she calls me and she said, hey, I've had it for 9 years, 10 months. And they told me that I have, 57 days left, till it's matured or whatever. That was my first annuity, guys. $225,000. It was expiring in a month and a half. And all I did was I found it. We got her into a better Athene annuity, got her a new 20% bonus, got her better interest rates. And it's like, I just took 10 seconds to ask the question. Well, the commission on that thing for me was like 11 or 12 grand, which to me, when I was trying to get my business off the ground, that was to anyone today, like that's a huge amount of money from just asking the question. My next one was a smaller one, but it was a teacher. I asked her the question and she literally was like fired up right after I asked her the question. And she's like, no, but I'm looking for something like that. And it was like the easiest, like one appointment application done. I didn't have to know anything. I was calling the SRS team at home. They're helping me with the questions, all the application stuff. And so if you guys get anything, start asking. If you're a manager I would really get this to your team, because I think of it as like the Swiss Army knife. If we're only selling the final expense and the mortgage protection and the IULs, we're only using one of the tools we have out of the whole, repertoire that we have with our life insurance license. So your team starts asking, well, guess what? Sean always talks about it. He's like, when I first started life insurance and I started selling 1 or 2 annuities a month, that kept me in the business, took care of my lead spend, took care of my chargebacks. And so as a team leader, I would really suggest that you master everything. Your team just starts asking the questions. And then when they have people, you can help them in 1 or 2 sales. Like Alex, you wrote 80 grand last month, dude. Like, you are crushing it. You're not asking the golden question every time. You start doing that, I guarantee you 2, 3, 4, 5 annuities every single month will start happening. And guys, 2 things about annuities. The company average commission is $8,500 per deal. So we love that. The second thing is, after the 30-day free look, they are extremely, 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 extremely rare to charge back. Like, I've heard of like 1 or 2 chargebacks ever, because the person died or whatever the case is. And so that's kind of my message for you guys today. If we want to open it up to questions, you guys can unmute yourself or put them in the chat box, and I'll address them. Who wants to ask first?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah.
And so on both sites, we were trying to watch the annuity, and it says that one site says that you have to ask the teacher, the other one says, sorry, it is the file doesn't exist. But
Okay.
somebody in the chat sent a YouTube link for FFL annuities, and they all are there. My question is, how do we get proof of training to submit?
Yep. So I see in here, so the boot camp's down, but that video series on there that Sheila put in on YouTube, if you go through some of those videos, just let your manager, your admin know that you watch the videos, you're ready to go, and that will suffice in terms of being able to get contracted with the annuity carriers and start.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
What was the name?
Sorry, what was that? Corey, I think you froze.
Did I pause?
Yeah, you froze. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I said, what was the name of that option for clients who don't have the large amount for the annuity?
Yes.
And qualify?
Yeah, so that one's going to be through National Life Group, and it's going to be called the Fit Secure Growth.
Fit secured growth. Okay.
And Sheila just put in here the new Flex Growth they have actually offers a bonus too. So that's pretty cool. Something that I've been using a lot the last like 2 weeks, guys, is, as you know, a lot of people are down 10, 15, 20% in the market, is I'm using that bonus to let them know, hey, it sucks the market went down, 10, 15% in the last couple of weeks, all this tariff stuff. But we can, in most cases, get you an 18 to 20% bonus to help not only offset all the losses, but you actually have a little bit more to start. So we're starting higher than you were anyway. And people love that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Does it work with a 403 account too?
Yes. Yep. IRAs, 401s, Roths, 403 TSP, any type of retirement, any type of cash, other annuities that can work in some cases as well. Rodrigo, there's a ton of videos. There's a ton of videos on YouTube. And so if you follow the link that Sheila put in there, that'll kind of bring you down a rabbit hole. And then from there, if you actually log into your Athene portal, There's a lot of trainings in there. And like I said, they have salespeople, ready to answer the phone when you call in. So if you want to call in, they're fantastic with asking questions. Also, I should have said this. If you don't have anyone to go to, like I said, you can always go to the SRS team for help on like illustrations, applications, stuff like that. But also in Gateway, where you have all the tabs of like lead center, IP report, all that kind of stuff, contracting, near the bottom left, you guys will see the Ask a Specialist. Mute this guy. Down there on that button, when you click Ask a Specialist, you can get both IUL and annuity illustrations. The turnaround time is usually within like a day or so, but all you do is put the information in. They'll email you an illustration of the best product, best company for that situation, and they make it super, super simple.
Hayden, I'd like to ask you the question that Andy put in the chat here. After you ask that golden question, right? You might go through the end of the presentation or whatever, right? But how do you come back to that and follow up and to link them up with the team?
Yeah, great question. So we ask the golden question, we go through the life application, or we don't sell them, whatever it is. And then I'm going to come back and my verbiage is going to be something like, hey, Tim, before we get off the phone, the area that I really specialize in, especially right now with the market being so bad, is safe money retirement. You mentioned that you have a 401k with about 100 grand in it. Do you have any plans in place already or any ideas to keep that money safe from the market volatility? They say no. I say, okay, perfect. Tim, what I can do is I can drop a proposal with one of my retirement specialists. What we can do is either tomorrow morning or Saturday afternoon, we can get on Zoom for about 10-15 minutes. We can visually walk you through the proposal and show you what no risk of market loss, 6, 7, 8% growth year over year on average with a nice 18 to 20% bonus, what that would do to your retirement. Is that something you'd be interested in? Yes. Okay, great. Would, Friday afternoon or Saturday morning work best for you? Saturday? Okay, cool. Let me get with my retirement specialist. I'm going to text you a time. And then what I'll do is I'll also text you a Zoom link. That way you can have the information to get on.
Thank you.
You got it. And I'm going to put my cell phone in here. If you guys need anything, you guys can always reach out. If you don't have anyone to help you with illustrations, apps, stuff like that.
Hayden, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going over the illustration on that meeting, do you go over like the guaranteed and then what the market has done the last 10 years and the 7% one, or which, what are you highlighting on the illustration during that appointment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So on let's go with the Athene illustrations, for example. Page 1 just going to be like the intro type of thing. Page 2 will be like their name, the amount, all that kind of stuff. The next thing I'm going to go through is I'll show them how, hey, we're keeping in an index fund. So as you can see, S&P 500, NASDAQ, you're familiar with those obviously. And then I actually do like showing them the guaranteed 0%. So just like IULs, guys, these are guaranteed at 0, meaning when the market goes down, you stay at 0, we can't lose money. So I always actually like showing them that, because I tell them like, hey, I can guarantee you, I'm one of the few people that can guarantee you that even when the market goes down, your money's not going to go down. So this is what it would look like if the market goes negative forever. And they kind of like laugh about it. I just wanted to show you just so you see it. The more important one, and then I'm going to skip to, the 6, 7, whatever it is % illustration. And I'm going to show them basically what that looks like. I'm going to explain, hey, as you can see, we started with this, you got this bonus. As you can see, based on, let's say 7%, this right here, the accumulated value, think of that as like your account balance. That's what we could be growing to. In most cases with the bonus, within 9 to 10 years, the money is typically doubling at that rate. I'm going to show them the next one over, which is the surrender value. So, hey, just like, your 401k or I or anything like that, we want to keep the money in here so it can grow. And so the only way people get hurt with these, and the only way it's not a good idea, is if you decide you want to take out all the money or a big lump sum tomorrow. We can take out 10% a year, no penalties. Most people are cool with that. And then from there, I'll go through the death benefit and basically show them how, as you can see, the account value will always be what the death benefit is. And then from there, one of my favorite things to do is the next page. It has like those 3 blue boxes. It's going to be like the most recent 10, the best 10 out of the last 20, and then the worst 10 out of the last 20. I like showing them that because that's real raw historical data. So I go through and I'm like, hey, I showed you 6% or 7%, but as you can see, the most recent 10, it looks like it's actually 8.5%. The best 10 of the last 20 is 9%. And then the worst 10 of the last 20 is 7.5%. And people typically like that because then they see, okay, great. He showed me 6% or 7%, but I'm seeing here it's actually a little bit higher historically. And then the last page I'm going to show them is basically a few pages down, the surrender charges. So at that point, a line that I learned I like to say is, all right, so Kim, we looked at the whole, illustration. At this point, you're probably thinking, what's the catch? You have a 20% bonus. You cannot lose money when the market goes negative. You're going to achieve around 6, 7, 8% gains year over year. And we can take out 10% a year. You're probably thinking, what's the catch, right? And everyone's always like, yeah, like I've never heard of this. And I say, well, like I said, Kim, where this doesn't make sense is if we move your 100K and you can just stay within the 10% a year guideline of withdrawals, then this thing's going to rock. We're totally good. But if you need to go take out 30, 40, 50, 60 grand, tomorrow or next year, the year after for, the AC unit breaks, or you want to get a new car or whatever it is, then maybe this doesn't make the most sense because I hate penalties and fees. And we don't want any penalties by way of extra withdrawals. That makes sense. You said, Kim, you're only going to take a few, a little bit, if anything. Okay, cool. And most people, like, they want their retirement to grow. So the 10% thing is fine. And then to take it a step further, if someone's in their early 70s or like late 60s, if it's a qualified account, so 401, IRA, TSP, 403B, whatever it is, when they turn 73 or 74, depending on the state and everything like that, they're going to have the RMDs, the required minimum distributions, which are typically an extra almost 4%. So if we have 10% withdrawals that we can take plus the 4% RMDs, we have 14% we can take out. That's pretty strong. And one of the things I love the most about the Performance Elite Plus through Athene in particular is if you don't take out 10%, so like year one, they don't touch it, they don't take out 10%, the next year they can take out 20. It doesn't roll over 20, which would be cool if it did, but every year they don't take any money out. The next year they can take out 20% with no penalties. So it gives them a lot of liquidity.
I got another question.
No, go ahead.
I'm new at this and, just been licensed for probably a couple weeks now. Say I get a client that, is all ready to sign. Is this something that it's an automatic take out of their 401, or do they have to pull money out and then put it into the annuity?
Yeah, great question. So when you do the application, basically there's going to be a thing on there that says either client or carrier initiated. I typically like to do the carrier initiated rollover. So it just makes it super simple. Athene sends the paperwork, they talk to their company. Sometimes we have to get involved and maybe there's like a phone call the client has to make or an extra form or signature or something. But typically it's going to be just direct rollovers. So company A is going to send the money over to Athene. Now, if it's cash, those are like the easiest ones. So if it's already in their bank account, all the client has to do once they get approved for suitability, which Athene's approving stuff like same day right now, maybe one day max. all the client has to do is either A, wire to Athene, or B, send them a check. So it's like the easiest process ever. But yeah, when it's a retirement account, typically Athene's going to do all the heavy lifting for you, or the NLGs, or whoever you go through, F and G.
Okay.
Hey, I'm brand new. I just switched from being an agent to becoming a broker. Been licensed for a couple months, but I don't know how to even get the quotes for clients. How do I find that out? Like, how do I where do I put in the information to get quotes and then close them and put in their bank information? You know what I mean?
You're talking about on the life insurance side?
Life insurance and whatever it is I'm going to be selling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it. So whatever team you're with, get with your manager. If you go to the mutualomaha.com, americo.com, americanamicable.com, all your carriers, you can there's their quoting software on there. So life insurance, your manager may have a website with all of them. If not, just go to the company's websites and they'll have them. In terms of the annuities, all you're going to do, like I said, is get the basic information. When you go to your gateway website where you did contract and you buy leads, there's the Ask a Specialist tool. Click that, put in the information, it'll email you, and or get with a specialist like myself or someone on your team or an SRS retirement specialist, and they'll handle everything for you right there.
So start with everything through the gateway.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. Then I will get started on that.
Right on. Welcome. All right. Yeah, Julie. So the golden question. So a couple of people have asked this. So the golden question is when you go through medical questions and now we're ready to ask, is basically, hey, Julie, what do you have that acts like life insurance? Any 401ks, IRAs, TSPs, stocks, checking or savings? And that's it. So basically the purpose of that is we just want to see what type of assets they have in terms of retirement or cash. So you can ask it a couple different ways, but the idea of it is we just want to see what they have. So that way, when they pass away, we know where the assets are at, but also for you as the retirement advisor to then at the end, circle back with whatever they have or don't have, and then talk about protecting their money or growing something that can start to build the money and protect it. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, going back to the example, somebody that has 100,000 in their 401k, they withdraw it from the 401k. How much should they expect to lose? I mean, don't they have to pay penalties, fees for early withdrawal?
Yeah, great question. So the great thing about the FIAs is when someone has a retirement account, we're going to directly roll it over into the FIA, and there's going to be no penalties, no taxes, nothing like that, because we're just doing a like for like transfer. Now, Jose, if your client calls up their 401k company and says, hey, I want to surrender it, send me the money, they're going to get taxed and penalized on it. And then they're going to have to go all the way back around and send it to Athene. So we just want it to be just a direct rollover where we do the application. You and Athene will reach out to their 401 or IRA company, and then they'll do a like for like transfer. And basically it just stays the same in terms of taxation, no fees, etc.
Okay. Yeah, this is great. I have a client who I wrote a term policy for like 18 years ago, and they need to get insurance again, but she has a big 401k. She's got $500,000 in there at least. So but she has some kind of cancer. So the problem is that she's probably not insurable anymore. That term policy is about to expire. Well, in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I guess we can use this instead of, because I was going to try to quote them, an IUL, but she may not qualify for it because of her health. So now, yeah, this is definitely a a great option.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Jason,
have-
FIA stands for fixed index annuity.
I have a question that's kind of like a follow-up to that one. I have a client that has a 401k, but he's a trucker, so it's bound in his company. Is there a way to roll that one over into an annuity, or does he, when we called and talked to them, they said that he had to be removed from the company. But that was just to like withdraw, like if he were to take it out. So would that be different if he wanted to roll it over even though it's under the company?
Yeah, great question. So when someone still has their 401 or IRA with their current company, and typically when they're younger, it's a case by case basis. So sometimes the 401 or IRA company, you can move it over. Sometimes you can't. And so what I would do is if you want to get on the phone with him and maybe call the company and see basically what the options are, that would be the best idea. But it's a case by case basis.
Cool, thank you.
I got another question, Hayden. Say, is there a minimum amount to roll over? Say if you got a company, a client who's unsure and just want to roll over a portion of their IRA or 401, is there a minimum to it?
I think there is a minimum. I think it's maybe like 1,000 or 2,000, something like that. But typically, I want to do what's best for the client. If they're 100% down to do like a couple of $1,000s, then I'm not going to say no. But if they're healthy and stuff like that, like typically I'm going to look for a little bit bigger of a lump sum to really provide them value for both of us. And so, yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
Yes, sir. This is Walt Adams here. I've got a 36-year-old gentleman who's about to get married. I'm wondering if he has an annuity now. Can he move it to a spousal support type of contract before he gets married, after he gets married? Just what happens to the math when he tries to get like say a lifetime income for his new wife?
Yeah, that's a great question, Walter. To be honest, if I were you, I don't want to tell you the wrong answer. I would just call into Athene today, and just explain, because that's a little bit it's a little bit more complex, and get with them and they'll be able to tell you for sure the right answer.
I'll do it. I'll be on the phone as soon as we get done with this. Thank you.
Perfect.
Quick question.
Mhm.
How would you approach someone that's already gonna be reaching RMDs and has it in an old like TSA account, and you want to be able to get them to put it into an FIA, that way to still let it grow and then still start accumulating income right away?
Yeah, great question. I think I would just sell it just like any other type of annuity. Right now, if it's in that, then she's exposed to market loss. And so one is we want to obviously secure that and grow it safely, but also we can get her that bonus. And so, if we can get her a 20% bonus, depending on how much money she has, all that means now is the account value is even higher. So her RMDs and what the 10% would be, she's going to be able to access more money than she would be right now.
So she would
What
get the
deter-
sorry,
Go ahead.
she would get the RMDs plus the 10% liquidity.
Correct. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
What determines the bonus? The bigger you move over into it, you get a bigger bonus? Is that
It's typically not the amount, it's typically the state. So like right now, most states with the Performance Elite Plus, they're 20%. Some states are 18. Like the Performance Elite non-plus, 8, 10, 12%, just depends on the state they're in.
okay? And that would be on the website. Okay. As far as go ahead.
Which carrier is that?
Athene.
Athene.
Hayden, I got a question. How would you position a federal employee? So like, let's say somebody just got, they either left or decided to take early retirement or got fired. and they want to retire? How would you position a federal employee?
Yeah, I mean, I just did one yesterday. It's kind of the same thing as just a regular, 401 IRA. It's just, all the things. We can grow it safely, no market loss, and then we can get them that bonus. And typically federal employees have a pretty good retirement. And so in terms of the value of the retirement account, it should be a pretty good one to move over, which means, obviously we want to protect it even more, but that bonus would be substantial.
Is there like a training or certification that we have to go through with Athene to write these annuities?
Yeah, so when you guys, that's a good question. When you guys get appointed with Athene, for example, there's going to be a training tab. So state suitability, for example, that's one training you need to go do, and it's right on their website. The performance elite training, that's going to be another one, and then any other state specific ones will be on there. That's another thing. Once you guys get appointed in your free time on the weekend, whatever it is, I would knock those out, because once you complete those, it's going to take Athene a day or two to upload them, and you can't write a client until that stuff is in there. And so, yeah, once you get appointed, call into Athene, ask your manager, and it's usually 2 or 3 or 4 trainings that you just have to knock out, and they'll take you, less than an hour or two to knock them all out.
Hey, Hayden, talking about being appointed. I was appointed, but for no production, no annuity type stuff with Athene.
Yep.
How do I go about getting reappointed?
Just get with your manager or your manager's admin, and they can resend you contracting.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Anyone? We're going to take one last question, and we're going to wrap it up. Anyone else?
Yes, I do have a question. So in the process of calling someone, you get someone on the phone, you ask them about the 401k, and they want to roll over, but 90% of the time they don't have the information, like who has their money, their account number, and other stuff that we need to do the rollover. How do you go about that to get them into the, a second appointment?
Yeah. So what I would do is I would have them, look through their stuff and see if they can find it. If not, if they just call their HR department, they can find out, who it's through, how to access it. Typically when people have regular W-2 jobs, the work days and all those type of HR things, they just go in there and they can find out, if it's Fidelity or whatever company. And then from there, they just log in or call the company and get their account number. But those are probably the best people to talk to, because they literally have no idea. They're just letting money from their check go into their retirement. They have no idea who it's with, what it's doing, fees, tax, they have no idea. So you can help them even better.
True. So you never show them any illustration on the first appointment.
Yep.
You just collect some information and try to get them on a second appointment and try to close them there.
Correct. So typically it's the appointment where I'm going to figure out all their information. Usually it's a life insurance appointment. Appointment number 2 is going to be an illustration. Ideally, if they're comfortable after the illustration, we're going to submit an application on the spot. If they're not, then it's going to be one more appointment to do the application. But it's not very, very rare. It's happened before, but very rarely are you going to get on the phone and sell life insurance, and then you somehow do the application for the annuity on the spot. Typically it's a 2 or 3 appointment type of thing.
Are people able to go into their 401k account and see how much they've lost in the past, I don't know, few weeks?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Okay. We need to hurry up and get on it, because people are losing money.
Amen.
They're hot right now.
Oh yeah. Well, cool guys. Well, hey, thanks for coming to this week's training. We'll have another one next week. We'll get this recording posted. And just to reiterate, if you haven't done the annuity bootcamp and seen the videos, check that out. From there, get appointed with Athene, NLG, F&G, do the trainings. And then from there, to start asking the question. I promise you guys, there's nothing special about anyone who writes a bunch of annuities. It's just the fact that they ask the question, they find the money. If they don't know what they're doing yet, they ask for help, and that person gets the deal done. And then after 1 or 2 of those where people are helping you, you're going to be able to do them yourself. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you guys next week.